Alright, so here's the problem. You got this really nice old radio you picked up somewhere, and you know it mostly works. But you notice when you know, so the volume controls are a little scratchy, and every once in a while it'll do something like that. Like, where'd your FM radio go? You lost all your volume. Then you find out that by jiggling a button or something, that it'll come back on. Well, it's an old radio. What's happened is the controls have gotten dirty, and there is a way to salvage them, and half of YouTube is going to yell at me for this, but yes, you can clean them using WD-40. And the idea behind it is this. It was put new into the unit and it failed without any WD-40. Sometimes it'll fail in a year depending on where it is, maybe 2 years, maybe 10 years, whatever. There is some dirt that has got into the controls. Some people will complain that WD-40 will shorten the lifespan or damage a control. Bottom line is, I've been teching stuff for over 35 years now. I've used WD-40 on mixing consoles, volume controls of all types. When I do it, have I ever had to go back in a second time? Well, I've held gear for as long as 5-6 years after that, maybe more, and I've never had to go back in the second time. If I did, usually the pot is beyond repair and you just have to replace it. There is a point sometime you have to replace it. So I'm going to show you what a potentiometer is. Okay, this is a potentiometer, and it's a variable resistor. What it is, there's a ring of carbon and a metal contact. When you turn this, you're changing the resistance between the pins. What will happen is dirt gets in. A lot of these, there's a huge opening down here that dirt can get in. And I've opened one up so you can see. Okay, you can see the big black ring around the edge. That's the carbon, and there's your metal contactor right there. I'll pop this a little more so you can see. Not that we're worried about this one. Okay, there's the ring of carbon. Ring of carbon, a little finger that rubs around it. And what will happen is dirt or dust will get on there. The other extreme is that it's just been in use for so long and the carbon trace will physically wear out to the point it just doesn't make good contact anymore, at which place you absolutely must replace this control. But for the most part, you do not have to replace the control. Simply cleaning it will get all the life you need out of it. So we're going to open up this radio and we're going to clean some controls. And of course, yes, you need to unplug it. Okay, if you don't want to scratch it, put a nice piece of cardboard there. Okay, this particular one's pretty easy to open. There's 5 screws. In case you're wondering how I'm getting those screws out, the tip of the screwdriver is magnetized. Okay, there we go. Got the top off. Get the speaker out of the way. Here's volume control number 1. Now, like you just saw on this other pot, there's a little opening right there. So that is where we're going to squeeze. Bring that in so you can see it. And put WD-40 right there in that point. Helps if you have it open, just a little bit. Okay. Now, work it back and forth, and you're going to feel immediately that the control gets easier to turn. That's almost always the case. You get a little bit of dirt in there, a little bit of hair, a little bit of stuff, and it just builds up and builds up and builds up. Okay, looks good. This other control is a different type of control, but it's still got fingers and contacts, so it doesn't hurt. Clean that also. And I can hear the YouTube people out there yelling right now, "Oh my God, you see what he's doing?" Work it, work it, work it, work it, work it. Okay. Now this other one, this is a micro switch. Well, switch. And I didn't disassemble one of those, but it's the same kind of thing. You have a metal finger on top of two metal plates. When you're sliding it back and forth, you're making contact between the two. And you can clean that sort of a switch by shooting in the little crevices down there. It's probably more than enough. And again, work it. That was the AM/FM switch. And if that doesn't make full contact, what it was doing was cutting the radio out entirely. And I'm sure you've owned devices that in your life, you jiggle the button and it works. And this is a typical way to repair that. Okay. And before I put it back together, let's see if we've actually solved the problem. Okay, so I plugged it back in, turn the radio on. Now, check the volume pot, tune it off station so you can hear some nice, smooth sound. And turn the volume up, turn it down. And you'll notice there's no jumping, no skipping, no big garbly sounds. Now let's try the AM/FM switch. Okay, everything's normal. Let's tune in the station.
Exceptional flavor. Pick up some tonight for an easy, mouth-watering meal. Get recipes and cooking tips.
So you'll notice it's not making the glitchy noises anymore, and the switch is staying solid. Even if you tap it, everything stays in. So that's how you clean up an old one without having to replace the parts. So next time this fails, I don't know, it's going to be years down the line before that fails again. Have fun. Yeah, PS. I know there's somebody who's going to be yelling out there. There's a little bit of residue on the board, and you can clean that up with a Q-tip if you want. It usually doesn't cause any problem. You want to try to avoid it, of course, but hey, things happen. See you, bye.